Yes, indeed. Mr. Fida Tokiria, the Managing Director of Nigeria Railway Corporation, joins us virtually this morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Well, a lot might
Good morning, Chebelen.
A lot might have changed in the last 24 hours. So just bring us up to speed. What is the latest about this unfortunate story?
Yeah, well, you had the commissioner, the Edo State Commissioner for Communication. Okay, so the update that 6 of those that were earlier held in captivity, they were able to rescue them, and they are still on the pursuit of those the bandits, and they are moving from place to place, and that's why they are trying to see how fast they can meet up with them and get the other one released. I think from what they are saying, I think they divided those people that were held as captive.
So they divided them, went in different ways?
The information I have. That is what we're suspecting, because they caught one of them, and that one was able to lead them somewhere, and they got 6 of them released. It's still a security issue. We have to be careful on what we say.
Are you suggesting that, or would you advise we be optimistic that probably in the next 24 hours there will be another set of people that will be released, or rescued, rather?
We hope so. With the intensity, the security and the community have deployed to ensure that we are not embarrassed. I think something good will happen very soon. We hope so. Because people have been out there since Saturday, and they are still there.
Okay. Well, you specifically told the country last year that security measures were being put in place for train security at transport sector to ensure that the facilities are safe, people can apply that safely. So many didn't expect this to happen again. So could you tell us then, what went wrong this time?
Nothing went wrong. As I said, you see, you plan, and you also have people who are trying to sabotage your effort. Is to limit the damage, the collateral damage. At this point, we have not gotten to the peak of that security architecture we want to have in our station, although it's out of the ordinary. We don't have such other client in railway operation. A situation where in Nigeria, where a rail operator has to become a security expert, it should not be the case. And we'll be liaising with the security agent, the IG, the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, the chief of air staff. I'm sure there's a rail security committee that the minister set up, including of high military personnel, and they are doing this thing and ensure that people are deployed to our train station and to the train. And once in a while, there could be sabotage, there could be the evil leg. So we don't. I think in the world there's no perfect. I don't think there's a perfect situation. Even in the US, you see how people try to have this security issue. We just pray that Nigerians change their mind. I think that is the best way that we can live in peace. And as earlier we had said, those who have these evil plans, the better for everyone.
Well, Mr. Okiria, some people will say that while we're praying that Nigerians change their mind, we have to protect those, who are using the services. I can understand when you say that, nowhere else in the world do people who manage train services still have to think about security. But that might not be entirely correct. I'm sure that, even the airlines have had their own fair share of managing security challenges in the wake of the bombings that we saw in the United States. I mean, policy changed entirely. We saw what you tried to do, that's the National Railway Corporation tried to do in the wake of the bombing of the Abuja-Kaduna rail line and the train. However, there are questions as to whether or not there's been an oversight with other, train stations or other train services that you might have. For instance, the Lagos-Ibadan one that you now have. This is the Warri-Itakpe line, which has now been attacked. So there are questions as to whether there's been so much focus on the Abuja-Kaduna line to the detriment of these other services.
No, it's not. What we are doing is holistic. We are not limiting it to Abuja, Kaduna, or Lagos, Ibadan. When we are taking the decision of providing security, we are talking of general security for the rail system, and that's what we are doing.
So if you're looking at general security for the rail system, and you say nothing went wrong, because that's the first question my colleague asked you, then how come we witnessed this incident at Igwebe?
Are you saying that there should be, I don't want to go into a debate. It has happened. We should look ahead and see how we can make sure it doesn't happen again. It doesn't mean that there is that 100% perfect system that cannot be sabotaged. That's what I said earlier. At Abuja, Kaduna, they bombed the train. At Igwebe, they raided the station. So as some study ideas are coming, that okay, fence the station, ensure that the stations are fenced. As I told somebody, you fence the station, and then now shift their target to the road to the station. And we also going to fence the station. We should endeavor to ensure that the security that we have in Nigeria protects everybody, not just the train passengers or the road user or the person in Channel studio.
So the questions as to the level of security. I mean, we're talking.
And he has not. We should, because this security cannot just say we are deploying to such this into rail, and the other part of the other system in Nigeria should be left. It should be holistic.
Mr. Kiria, so, a lot of people are going to either use the rail or not use it based on the confidence that they feel in the rail system. And we know how much of an investment has been put into the rail system, in bringing this rail infrastructure back to life. And it's so sad to see what it is we're saying. But even in the wake of, you restarting operations along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, speaking to security experts, they did say that the system continues to remain vulnerable, and they were able to list some of the areas of vulnerability. So there are questions as to whether there's been a real security assessment, an assessment of threats, and, an attempt to really think like how the criminals would think in these situations, and try to forestall. You might not be able to totally prevent an attack, but at least them carting away 30 people, it really raises questions as to what level of security was present at the railway station.
Okay, before now, we have the rail system that have not been, had issue of this insecurity or security issue. And now it is because the rail system is developing in Nigeria. Everybody is trying to become an expert. You said rail consultants, and I'm not happy to say this on air. There are people who want to empower themselves by other means, by under people's misery, coming up with many ideas. And when you scrutinize it, you discover that it's just for their personal interest, not for the generality of the people. So we have to be very careful and know You see, really in Nigeria, it's not an isolated place. We have it, and what we do, we are guided by the principle of rail operations. So we are not reinventing security or the signaling or safe train operations. It's been done all over the world, and that's what we are bringing into Nigeria. So, and we go at our own pace, and the security architecture we are talking about is not cheap, and it's not suppose the burden of the Nigerian Railway to start providing that level of security.
Yeah, Mr. Kira, if I could just jump in. You seem you are not happy with some people who you refer to as security consultants. And then you use the word sabotage a number of times. Are you suggesting that some persons who knows the kind of security architecture that the government or that you are putting in place organize this and thereby sabotaging government's plans, or what exactly?
How will you feel if there is an infringement in your system the following day you are having 100 proposals? And the only interest is how to make money from government out of it. So somebody come to you and say this, at the end, is his interest is talking about.
So how do you come to that conclusion then? Which of the security consultants?
We have the already system in place. We have the soldiers, we have the Air Force, we have the police, we have the civil defense, we have the DSS, we have the hunters and the forest guard, and we have all these layers of security, and they are all in railway. And even when you deploy them, apart from their salary, you still need to pay something extra. And the operational cost of running the rail in Nigeria today, because of all these things, has that more than buying the cost of diesel. It's quite frustrating. So that's why I'm saying we have to be very careful and know we are all Nigerians, and so where we are this insecurity before government decided to say let's modernize the rail and let people use it and get the benefit of having a good rail system. The Abuja-Kaduna train will commence on 5th December, and the people that patronize us, I never expected that, and the volume started rising and going up. And we are providing the service, and even when we reduce the number of service because of the cost of diesel, the output was higher than when we were running more trains. So, the people, the Nigerian has bought the idea of using the train because they believe they have peace of mind when you're on the train. As most time it's faster. There's no traffic, there's no button, there is no custom checkpoint, there is no police checkpoint. And at the end, few elements you see, it's matter of who shoots first. Even if you have a general guiding the train, if somebody who had the intention to come and upset, start firing, even the general will forget that he's having a gun. That's what we should know about this issue. But however, we will try and develop and ensure that the community are embedded in our system so that any information they have the capacity on. While we are talking about the deploying technology, and at the same time, those have to be powered, and you have to deploy the generators to ensure you have power 24/7 and or not like it. Don't worry.
Okay, Mr. Okiria, we're winding down soon.
There is no power on that route. All we use is that solar generator to power the station.
Okay.
Because some people, in the process of putting a light on it, don't worry, some Nigerians went to court and the judge passed judgment. Don't do anything. So what will somebody do?
All right,
when
let
there's
me
a
come in
judgment
now,
that
Mr.
say
Okiria.
stop
We're winding down
the
soon.
installation of power.
Right. I mean, quite a number of challenges you have laid down there, and I sense some sort of difficulty and perhaps hesitancy on your part to say some things. But it looks like you're saying that all of this attention, especially security-wise on the rail tracks and infrastructure, is deliberate, perhaps to get money out of the service or government. It appears that's what you're saying. And I recall that while we're trying to resolve all of the Abuja-Kaduna attack and all of that, there was some money released, budgeted, I should say, for securing that particular stretch. I think 718 million naira. Now, are you saying for this one we'll also need some sort of budget, you know, some money set aside? I don't know if it's up to that to secure that route as well. Don't forget that you've said that sometimes you have these incidents and then proposals just flow in and all of that. So is this something we'll need to do for the Warri-Takpe line as well? Maybe some hundreds of millions of naira to secure that corridor?
Trying to be very direct and sincere from my heart. If you say whether this thing that happened are deliberate, it's deliberate. Somebody woke up from his home and took gun or went to the track and planted bomb. He did it deliberately, not by accident or coincidence. They are deliberate acts. On the money or the approved for, that is for the light rail, Abuja light rail, that was approved for the FCT. They're in charge of that. And that is to provide the physical people guiding the track. We also have that one in our system. We have civilian guards who protect the station, and we have valiant men who patrol the track. So that is part of the railway system. The contract we are talking about was for the Federal Capital Territory Rail Network, not for the National Rail. We are talking about Abuja Kaduna, that is about 178 kilometers. We are talking about Lagos Ibadan from Apapa.
Okay.
If you start from Apapa, talking about 168 kilometers, Itakbe was 812 kilometers. We are talking about the narrow gauge, about 3,570 kilometers.
All right, Mr. Okiria, we need to wrap up, but just one thing quickly, if you can. When you say you suspect sabotage, where were all these security threats before we decided to modernize the rail? How come we suddenly have this attack and then we have 100 proposals? So are you suspecting all those security analysts, because we've had a handful of them talk about this here on the program and other stations and radio as well, even print, or do you have a set of them that you suspect may be behind this?
No. I'm not linking those who write proposal to it. I'm saying it should not be a thing that people want to feed on the mystery of what is happening on people or on the system. People should come together and bring ideas instead of finding a way of doing business out of it. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
So at the moment, with that structure that the government is putting in place, if you want to tell us about, give us an idea when it will be ready, or is it that when it's ready, this kind of attacks will never happen again?
So it's not going to be one way, just one. You see, technology develop every day. We are talking about one thing. Right now, we have deployed smart radio that we are not in existence even last 2-3 years back, that you don't need to start building towers. We had towers, about 78 towers all over Nigeria. At the time, you see, the security will tell you they came, they tied my hand, and they removed the solar cell and they removed the batteries.
Okay. All right.
So all those things, but now we have deployed that. We don't have to need to have solar. We don't need to have towers. You pick a radio, and if the staff is not on duty, you know that it's not on duty, because the radio is not at the location where it should be.
We do thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning, and we're looking forward to getting that security architecture you speak about in place to ensure that these kind of scenarios do not happen again. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, and God bless you.